Welcome to the Explainer. Imagine, just for a second, stepping totally away from your chaotic daily grind and settling into a quiet, wood-paneled library at a mountain leadership retreat. That's exactly the grounded, focused energy we want to bring today. We are diving into something absolutely foundational, yet honestly, it's something almost everyone overlooks at some point. We're exploring the alchemy of influence. More specifically, we're breaking down how managing the energy you bring into a room fundamentally dictates how people perceive your intentions, and ultimately, how that makes or breaks your credibility. So, let's jump right in.
Now, mastering your leadership presence isn't about adopting some rigid ideology, and it is definitely not about faking someone else's personality. It is an active, continuous practice. At its core, leadership presence is an exercise in internal authority. You know how you manage your internal energy literally influences the entire external environment around you. If you want to connect with and actually influence your team, you have to master the energy you're projecting before you even open your mouth to say a single word.
To understand this, let's look at the trap of the driving voice. When we get stressed, when we overcompensate, or when we just lose touch with our authentic selves, we tend to slip into this overly assertive default mode. Think of it as the illusion of force. Instead of driving actual, meaningful results, this unmanaged, high-octane energy just creates friction. It doesn't connect. Honestly, it just immediately puts everyone else on the defensive.
And the real-world cost of that unchecked driving voice, it's surprisingly steep. Take David Pottruck, the former CEO of Charles Schwab. He admitted, "It never occurred to me that my level of energy would intimidate and offend other people. I became a lightning rod for friction." He was working insanely hard, pushing for results, completely convinced his relentless drive was what the company needed. But his unmanaged energy actually made his team view him as intimidating and self-serving. Despite having the best intentions, it completely destroyed their trust in him.
So, how do we actually fix this and avoid that trap? We use the ACE framework: assumptions, communication, and energy, which is designed to help build real leadership presence. Today, we're zeroing in entirely on that E. Understand your energy. This takes some really deep, honest self-awareness. It's all about consciously managing both the physical and emotional energy you bring to the table so that you project a calm, stable equilibrium. This is exactly how you make that crucial shift away from an alienating, driving voice.
When you put these two states side by side, the contrast is night and day. On one side, you have the driving voice, unchecked, aggressive, running on high octane. It just rolls right over people and drastically diminishes your actual influence. On the other side is the ultimate goal, your signature voice. This is grounded, it's authentic, and it's deeply connected to the people around you. By simply checking your energy, you drop the mere forcefulness and step into genuine internal authority. You perfectly balance your distinct value with a real capacity to connect with others.
Section 1. The Science of Calm, Reassuring Through Emotional Energy.
Okay, managing your energy isn't just some fluffy self-help concept. There is literal physiological science showing how our emotional regulation impacts leadership, especially when the stakes are super high. Researchers studying Harvard executive programs found a biological profile they call the happy warrior. This is wild. Highly effective leaders actually maintain much lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol, even in the middle of massive challenges. They literally face troubles without becoming troubled themselves. They might be taking rapid action, but emotionally, they project complete relaxation. They demonstrate this courageous calm in a crisis that magically makes all the uncertainty tolerable for everyone else.
And why does that cortisol level matter so much to your influence? Because calmness during a crisis makes people much more willing to trust and listen to your guidance. When you walk in with that happy warrior energy, your team unconsciously feels a sense of safety. Their biological threat responses literally power down, and the conduit for influence bursts wide open. They become highly receptive to what you have to say, all because you took the time to manage your emotional energy first.
Section 2. The Physics of Poise, Projecting Control Over Anxiety.
So we've covered the emotional stuff, but what about the physical side of your presence? How you literally take up space and move your body sends a massive visual signal to the room about your internal control. The physical contrast here is stark. On one side is anxious leaking. Think twitching, fidgeting, those loose-jointed, chaotic movements. It creates visual static. Without you saying a word, it screams to your team that you aren't in control of your own anxiety. On the flip side is deliberate poise. This is all about precise movement, holding your stillness and radiating a calm equilibrium. That deliberate stillness, that's the poise you absolutely need to be taken seriously as a leader.
Notice the incredibly subtle physical differences in posture between projecting warmth versus projecting coldness. On the warm side, you're balancing your weight, tilting your head just slightly, leaning inward in a way that isn't aggressive, keeping your hands open. It naturally invites trust. But look at the cold side, pointing the chin down, pivoting away, crossing your arms, using rigid hand motions. That creates an instant wall. These tiny, nonverbal cues are literally dictating whether your audience feels safe with you or threatened by you.
So how do we actually pull this off and cultivate physical poise in our everyday lives? First, just stand tall. Naturally maximize your space by straightening your spine, but don't aggressively puff out your chest. When you move, move deliberately to specific spots. Don't just randomly cast your limbs about. And once you get to that spot, maintain stillness. Anchor that calm equilibrium. And absolutely kill the visual static like fidgeting. Remember, genuine strength always comes from a grounded posture, never from trying to look menacing or forceful.
Section 3. The Alchemy of Influence. Balancing strength and warmth.
This is where the real magic happens. We're synthesizing emotional and physical energy to build an unshakable foundation for your influence. Machiavelli famously asked if it was better to be loved or feared. Well, modern behavioral science tells us we actually judge leaders on two main dimensions: strength, which is your competence and agency, and warmth, which is your trustworthiness and empathy. If you just bulldoze in with strength alone, you're going to elicit fear and alienate your team. Your influence is absolutely maximized when you use your internal stability to project both strength and genuine warmth. Leading with warmth acts as the ultimate conduit for your influence. It drops your defenses and makes you incredibly approachable.
The ultimate payoff for doing this work? Your leadership literally becomes a welcome reassurance rather than a threat. When you feel personally secure and you project that confidence through carefully managed physical and emotional energy, the people around you don't feel the need to put their guard up. They become naturally, almost effortlessly receptive to your ideas, finding true comfort and clarity just by being in your presence.
I want to leave you with a question to really sit with today. How is your current energy dictating the way others perceive your intentions? Bring this insight right into your lived practice and into your daily conversations with your team. The next time you walk into a boardroom, step onto a stage, or frankly, just log into a virtual meeting, channel that happy warrior. Anchor yourself with deliberate poise. Remember that warmth is the true conduit to your strength. If you master your energy, you absolutely will master your influence. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and what do you say we do this again next time?